Most people thought they had Cory Booker figured out, a high-profile senator, a familiar face on talk shows, and one of the few major politicians who had somehow stayed single well into his national spotlight years. So when the news broke that he wasn't just engaged, but officially married, and all of it happened in barely 2 months, the internet didn't know whether to congratulate him or ask what on earth happened behind the scenes. Because for a man who spent years avoiding the settle down narrative, this sudden shift felt almost unreal. But the timing, the speed, and the quietness of the entire ceremony, that's what set people talking, and the story only gets more interesting from here. When Booker announced his engagement, people naturally celebrated, but almost immediately the timeline became the conversation. Political insiders admitted they were just as shocked as the public. Booker had a reputation for keeping his personal life extremely private, yet even by his standards, this was fast. Friends who had known him for years weren't expecting a wedding so soon. Even some staffers, according to reports, found out the same way everyone else did, online, and that's when the curiosity began. Why the sudden urgency? Why now? But the more you look into his new wife, the more it starts to make sense. Alexis Lewis isn't a celebrity, an actress, or a familiar public figure. She's something far more interesting, a quiet powerhouse. She's been deeply involved in philanthropy, entrepreneurship, and community work for years, but intentionally stays out of the spotlight. No public scandals, no thirsty interviews, no viral controversies. Instead, she moves in circles where real influence happens quietly. People who've worked with her describe her as sharp, driven, private, and wired for purpose over attention. It's the kind of energy that fits perfectly with someone like Booker, if you understand why he's drawn to people who don't want the microphone. They reportedly met through overlapping charity work, not glamorous, not viral, something far more authentic. And from the moment their relationship became public, it was clear Alexis wasn't seeking the limelight, even though she could have easily stepped into it. For years, Cory Booker carried the image of America's most eligible political bachelor. His relationship with Rosario Dawson was the closest the public ever got to seeing him in a Hollywood meets politics love story. Their split left people assuming Booker would return to the single politician lane for good. Some commentators even joked he'd never settle, that his career was too consuming, or that he liked keeping his dating life mysterious. His bachelor status almost became part of his brand. So when Alexis entered his life, quietly, steadily, without noise, the shift was noticeable. People close to the couple say she brought something different: stability without chaos, ambition without ego, and a grounded presence Booker wasn't used to. And that's when the 2-month timeline started making more sense, but also raising more questions. 2 months. That's all it took from the engagement announcement to the wedding. Some said it was pure certainty, that when you know, you know. Others insisted Alexis's preference for privacy encouraged a quick ceremony. And then there were the unverified whispers suggesting political timing, especially with major elections approaching. A few viral posts even claimed the marriage might help soften Booker's image for future campaigns. Again, none of that is confirmed. But people love a narrative, and a fast wedding from a national figure gives them plenty to work with. Still, the couple stayed silent. No long interviews, no dramatic explanations, just a wedding, simple and intentional. The wedding itself was almost shockingly small. No celebrity guest list, no giant ballroom, no paparazzi frenzy. Sources described it as intimate, personal, and focused on the people who mattered, not the cameras. Even the symbolism caught attention. The location reportedly reflected community roots rather than political glam. The vows were heartfelt but simple. The entire thing felt like an intentional rejection of spectacle. And that's rare for someone constantly in the public eye. Once the photos were released, supporters flooded social media with congratulations. But the curiosity didn't disappear. In fact, the low-key nature of the wedding only added to the mystery. Whether people admit it or not, Cory Booker's public image has shifted overnight. The narrative of the bachelor senator is gone. In its place, a married political leader with a grounded partner beside him. Political analysts immediately began breaking down what this means. Some said it humanizes him. Others think it makes him seem more stable to undecided voters. But supporters say the real impact is personal. Booker finally seems to have the balance he never allowed himself before. And Alexis isn't just a spouse, she's already being seen as a steadying influence. Someone who may not speak often, but whose presence changes the energy around Booker. As with any public figure, the internet filled in the silence with speculation. Unverified posts mentioned optics, personal timelines, and even hints that the couple moved quickly for reasons they don't want public. But nothing solid backs any of that up. The only confirmed truth is simple. Two people got engaged, stayed quiet, and got married quickly. Everything else is noise. Now that their wedding is official, the real question is how they'll navigate the spotlight together. Insiders expect Alexis to remain private, avoiding the typical political spouse role. Some think this mystery will only make the public more curious. Booker, on the other hand, seems more centered than ever. Supporters say the marriage may give him a new chapter, one that blends personal happiness with his demanding political future. Whatever comes next, one thing is clear: this wasn't just a wedding, it was a turning point. Cory Booker's fast marriage to Alexis Lewis caught everyone off guard, not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. In a world where political moments are scripted, this one felt shockingly human. And sometimes the quiet decisions say more than the loud ones ever could.